think I can describe this now. Hey everyone, today I wanted to talk to you about the new Alpine Pro Series Type R. This is the next generation 6.5-inch components. Alpine has redesigned them for 2023 and they are fantastic. I am really impressed with these new speakers. And in this new generation of Alpine Type R, they basically have 3 different lines within the line. They have their standard series, which you're going to find in your 6.5-inch component, 6x9 component, and your coaxials. And then they also have their Pro Series. Their Pro Series is what I'm really excited about. Specifically, the R2-S652s is what I have in my showroom. That is a 2-way. They also make a 653, which is a 3-way component. The design of these, this has some weight to it. Alpine Type Rs have never had any real substantial weight to them for their interior speakers, and that's a design aspect. You know, the older series, these were made to be, you know, easy to install. And the next generation in the standard series is a similar type of basket. This is called a polymer basket. You're going to find that on the standard series, and this is what was on the old series. The Pro Series, you're going to find an aluminum cast basket, which is a lot beefier. The other thing they've done is the crossover is now separate. It's this robust crossover network that you would find with a, you know, like a higher end component system. One thing I will say, on the soundboard in the car, we do usually do the tweeter level at the minus setting. Otherwise, it can be a little bright. And that's the other big difference with these speakers. These have a hard dome tweeter. Now, traditionally with Alpine, they always had a soft dome tweeter in their Type Rs. Soft dome is typically what I prefer. I want something that's delicate and smooth, like the Morel tweeters are a soft dome tweeter. The JL Audio, the C2 series, those have a soft dome tweeter, and the Type Rs typically always had a soft dome tweeter. But in order to be compatible with those high resolution files and FLAC audio, or perhaps you're streaming Tidal through one of your new Alpine head units, like the ILX507 with the built-in Tidal app, there are frequencies above 20,000 hertz. Can we hear those? Not necessarily, but we can perceive them. The same way that we can perceive low frequencies that are inaudible. We can't really hear very well below 20 hertz, but we can feel it. And that's the idea with making speakers that are capable of those high resolution frequencies that may not be nakedly perceptible to the ear, but can still be physically perceived. I hope that's a good explanation. It's kind of a weird, you know, mystical sort of thing that I'm talking about here. Something that we know is there, but we can't necessarily hear or pinpoint. The other thing I should mention regarding playback on high-res files, if you're using Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, or CDs, that's topping out at 20,000 hertz anyways. But if you are using those high-resolution files, either through Tidal and the built-in app on an Alpine unit, or perhaps you have a standalone high-res portable player that you're using, or just FLAC files on USB, then chances are those higher frequencies are there. Anyways, other things I wanted to talk about. The material of this woofer is totally different. The previous generation was made of a carbon fiber reinforced polymer, which is very lightweight and strong. This is actually glass woven cone, and it sounds like a glass woven cone. These sound very similar to the Focal FLAC series. Maybe not quite as refined, but that's what I kept coming back to while I was listening to all the different speakers that we have on display to try to describe these for you. The mid-range is very present, very punchy. The tweeter is also very detailed, but with that minus level, it's not harsh. It's crisp. And there's a lot of clients that are just looking for clean and crisp, punchy, and that's what you're getting with these Type R Pros at a very reasonable price at $399. It's really hard to beat. And I'd say they're priced well. From a sound quality perspective, I'd say these are going to be somewhere between like a Focal Axis series and a Focal FLAC series, and they're kind of right in the middle as far as price point, and I'd say they're also right in the middle as far as performance goes. They're going to be very different from like a JL Audio C2 with that soft dome tweeter. That's going to have a lot heavier mid-range focus and a much softer tweeter, whereas the Type R's it's much more open and much more detailed. It's more present. If I was to compare it to some other speakers, it's not going to be quite as open and airy as, say, like a Morel component. But Morel is usually lacking in mid response. So you're going to get that really detailed acoustic guitar, or even, electric guitar riffs, those really kind of grungy guitar notes that a lot of people like in the mid-range. You're going to get that with the Type Rs. It's a great overall balance, and I'm just super impressed with this new speaker because it's totally different than anything Alpine's done before. It's really a big step up. Well, besides the crossover network being more robust, one of the things, it is more difficult to install, right? The previous network just had a little passive cap on here, which is what you're going to find on the standard series, and then this little inline crossover. You'll still see this type of system on the standard series, but the Pro is going to have this larger external crossover network that you'll have to mount, find a spot for it. And then the tweeters have, these directional, if you use the directional housing, you can kind of pivot it, which is cool. But they do have a couple of different mounting options as well. One of them is a surface mount option, so you could pop it out of there and surface mount it, or just flush it in. Depends on your factory mounting location that you're working with. A lot of these newer cars have oversized tweeters, so it's not a big deal to get an adapter and make your own plate to mount the tweeter in the factory spot. Now the whole Type R line has been revamped. The other product I'm really excited about is their Type R shallow mount subwoofer. Our rep Colette came by a few weeks ago with the 10-inch in her car, and she was playing Dirty Diana by Michael Jackson. And we do car audio at our shop all the time, and we're in a complex with other neighbors. We're just like a commercial complex that we're here, industrial complex. And one of my neighbors came out like, what is that low rumbling sound that I'm hearing? And it's like, oh, it's just the car stereo shop. But it had so much low end, and it was tight, and it was deep, and it was punchy, and it was clean. It honestly reminded me of like a Focal Utopia 10, because the performance was just so magnificent for this little tiny subwoofer. It was really hard to believe. So my next review is going to be on that. I'm going to have one in my car for a week or two and see how that sounds, and then I'll make a video on that. So look for that soon. Overall, I'm just really impressed with the performance and the quality of these speakers. It's very different than anything I normally expect from Alpine. Alpine is not necessarily a brand that I would say is known for their speakers. I'd say they're more known for their electronics, their amplifiers, their head units. And this is a big change in the quality. It's very different in a very pleasant way. They're sounding more like a speaker-specific company with these Type Rs, kind of like those niche brands that I carry, like a Focal or Morel. That's more of the caliber of quality that I'm hearing from these. So awesome job, Alpine. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this review on the new Alpine Pro Series R2-S652s. Do you have these speakers in your car? What do you think? Have you heard them? Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I'd love to get your feedback. See you guys next time. If you are in the tri-state area and would like to take a listen to the new Alpine R Series Pro 2 components, check out our shop, Sounds Incredible Mobile, in Brookfield, Connecticut.